Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Nature Echoes. It's Sunday, 13th of February, 2023. And so thank you very much for joining me here. It's our weekly time of echoing news, stories, poetry, and art connected to nature folklore and all our precious water, holy wells, woodlands, hedges, and wildlife. So hail, how whole and holy good health to you all on this glorious day. It's actually raining a bit here. Not so cold. That's one thing. We've gone a little bit mild just for today. Now, through this edition, we're going to be exhibiting the Donegal Holy Wells. That's a list of what we got coming up. And that's from a video that we're going to be showing. That's one of the Donegal Holy Wells there. We got video compassing. We got a feature on that. We got the Wonder of Views. There's a lovely old view there. And a Journaling Nature Folklore course update. I'll give you a bit of an update of what's going on there. Now, this Nature Echoes Live, plus the growing Nature Folklore videos, articles, and photo library. I'm currently inviting you to subscribe to Nature Folklore through the Substack there. And excuse my sweater disappearing. I haven't got so much lighting. Some of the light bulbs have failed. So I haven't quite got the lighting. So every now and again, I might seem to disappear. So I apologize for that. I'll try again. There we go. We'll poke. There we go. Nature Folklore through Substack there. And on Substack, I host 2 tiers of membership. There's a free one. And you can join that up, look around, comment, and it's a lovely way that we can keep in touch. And the other is for support subscribers who will soon be invited to also participate in the Journaling Nature Folklore course. And that's going to be launched, I'm sure, by the end of this month, which is fantastic. And there's no extra charge for subscribers. And I also hasten to add that I'm still continuing to build my video library up there on Patreon to serve the precious Patreon subscribers. Now, all Nature Folklore subscribers on Patreon, they actually receive a complimentary 2-for-1. So they get a membership on the Substack as well. So that's a 2-for-1 deal. So thank you for your support, all your support subscribers. It's why I'm still here and able to present this on this Sunday here, which is fantastic. So with that show survival pledge now sorted out, I see there's a few lovely early birds here. Let's say hello to who's here. Wayne Bird, I think I see, is here. There we go. Hello, John. Hope everyone is well. Lovely that you're here, Wayne. Claire Roach is here. Fantastic. Good afternoon. Looking forward to the program. And I see from the figures coming, there's people who are popping on because I get the numbers who's actually watching. And so I gather the numbers are coming up. So I imagine there'll be a few hellos, and we'll come back and we'll say hello to you later as you're saying more. Now, the wonders of use. Let's see what I got for that for you. The from a posting on Facebook, what I'm going to be echoing is a Facebook posting by Diana Horton. And there she talked about some magic and folklore of the yew. And my upcoming Journaling Nature Folklore, which I'm going to update you with shortly, it focuses a lot on tree lore and using trees as prompts to bring us our inspirations and shooting up and instincts. And trees, excuse me, trees and tree lore, they certainly stretch back to our earliest symbolic imaginations. And there we have an elm stone, and there's a fallen beech tree, which I thought was amazing. It's almost spelling its own there. A lovely picture to put in with that one. And trees possibly founded I think they really founded our human concept of schools and teaching. I don't think there would have been any schools and teaching until some of our ancients used the prompts of trees which were in their surrounding, and then used the trees and gathering together to share knowledge. And as much as it may be denied, when we chop down, clear through trees with perhaps our obsessive quest for neat and tidy, we forget the trees are symbols of physical and spiritual nourishment. And they are very symbolic of transformation. I love this one. Symbolic of transformation, liberation, sustenance, spiritual growth, human unions, and fertility. That's quite a famous beech tree that's there in the Hazelwood, the east of Sligo there. And the symbols of trees, they really have been used since ancient times as a framework to map out our consciousness and conception. And so, at least our understanding of them, it gives us a kind of insight into places of birth and death, I believe. And sacred trees, it's not only a Celtic thing, it's found in shamanic, Hindu, Egyptian, Sumerian, Toltec, Mayan, Norse, Christian, all sorts of other human traditions. So I'm going to talk about a little about one tree and its symbolism. It's going to be a little bit different than what I'll be using in the course, but through my Journaling Nature Folklore, I'm going to be sharing a variation of the yew tree, which is the Taxus baccata. My yew poem in the Oma Tale of the Trees is about 9 minutes long, 12 minutes if it's with music, so I'm not going to share that with you today. But the yew symbolisms, there's a lovely one, includes transformation, regeneration, reincarnation, eternal life, immorality. There's a lovely one. You get that avenue. That's an avenue to a church. I'm not quite sure where that is myself. But usually have a strong symbolism and prompting for death combined with rebirth, change, regeneration. It's a regenerating tree. It's self-regenerating. As the center of the tree dies, it actually is replaced by new tree. So the rings in the center, when they die off on a regular tree, an oak or an ash or hazel, any of those, that's part of the process that the tree is fading away. But not with a yew. You've got this forever rebirth of the rings in the middle, replacing them. And that's why yews can live for thousands of years. Now, most of the yew is poisonous, as we know, but some parts are not. Well, I'm not going to go into a discussion about that because I don't want any of you going off making a mistake and using the wrong parts. So I'm not going to go into that. But in Europe, the yew wood, it was used for making bows, but it was bows for chieftains. It had an incredible value, anything yew. So the kings, the queens, the chieftains, anyone of the elite class of the ancient times would make their bows with yew. They would make some of their sword handles, certainly the dagger handles, made with yew. But everyone else below the echelons there, they made their bows with rowan or maybe even willow. But yew, as I say, made for handles, just very much for ceremonial reasons. And on the northwest coast of North America, the Pacific yew, I forget what the botanical name of that is, but it's used there by the, if I got this right, Haida tribe and other tribes around there in Pacific Northwest. And they use the yew still, that Pacific yew. I haven't got the pictures, unfortunately, but they use them for making masks for various rituals. But we're really familiar with, as I showed earlier, yews in the cemeteries. There's a yew in the cemetery there. And we should also be aware that many yews were there before the cemetery. Look at that very ancient yew. That was definitely there before. I mean, those gravestones, they look very old and ancient. But no, the yews were there before. And it seems to be the presence of yews that actually inspired the cemetery to be located there in the first place. Because, as I was saying about the regeneration, that cemetery seems obvious because in the earliest burials in cemeteries, especially around yew trees, what was found is that any leaves and any branches that are broken off, they would actually be put onto the graves. I haven't got any pictures of that, but let's show you something like that. If they fell down, they will be put onto the graves. And that is a reminder that the departed spirit is only going through death before a pause, before going into a rebirth life. So it's very representative of what I was saying about the yew, the regenerating tree, the transition from life to death back to life again, and very good, much as a symbol of going through the autumn to the winter and through to rebirth of spring again. Now, Island folklore tells us, should we go to, I've got one in the background there, should we actually decide to chop down a yew tree? As I say, so people have got so obsessed with taking trees down as neat and tidy, but should you actually bring down a yew tree, especially if one has crept up in the hedge, these people that are cutting the hedges there, misfortune will come to your life, very extreme. But if you find branches of a yew, supposing there's a lovely old one there, supposing those branches broke off without you doing anything, just naturally broke off, they've just been shed by the tree, then regard it as a gift. Pick it up and take it home, bring your piece of yew home, burn that as a yew log. Funny, it sounds similar to Yule log. I never thought of that. But burn that on your hearth, and that's said to bring you good fortune within your home if you can find a yew on the ground. Now, I'm going to talk a lot more about yews and other trees, their prompts, how we live with them without realizing it through my upcoming Journaling Nature Folklore course, which I hope to get out to you by the end of this month. So, any questions you've got on that, or any comments you've got on that, will be lovely to get from you. There's Cliff Carr there. Good evening, John. Hope all is well. Thanks for joining us, Cliff there. Fabulous. Good to have you around. Good to have everybody around. Anyway, I'm going to stick to trees. Going to go on about hazel, hazel coppicing. Now, this is a lovely tree. Hazels I love to talk about. And this is an echo from a lad called Andy Burney. He's a hazel forester and farmer. He's in Hampshire in England. And Andy regularly posts about his work with hazels on Facebook through a group called Trees of Britain and Ireland. That's the Trees of Britain and Ireland group. Now, what Andy was saying is that managing ancient woodlands, such as a hazel coppice, can provide an infinite source of materials. You can use the hazel materials for fencing, thatching, hedge laying, along with providing and sustaining wildlife habitat. And even part of coppicing hazels and looking after the whole management, it actually recreates its management of wildlife habitation as well. So there's a lot of respect when you deal with hazels in that way. And he says that hazel woodland is very unique. It maintains a very biodiverse habitat, which relies on regular harvesting. That's how woodland management used to be done. It wasn't a case of growing trees and clear felling them. It was all about harvesting the wood in a coppicing kind of way. And with hazel, it's great. It's not like chestnut, which you can only coppice every 20 years. I think ash is about the same. But with hazel, you can actually do coppicing on a 7-year rotation. So you can get a harvest from your hazels every 7 years if you use the coppicing method. So that means cutting the branches. What you do, I haven't got an illustration of this, but you cut the branches down near the base of the trunk, but you don't touch the roots. So what happens is you cut, the first time you cut down your hazels, it's a single trunk tree, you cut it down. What happens then? You get 2, 3, 4 new trunks. And so you get this multiple increase of trunks that come out, and those trunks became more useful as staves and for weaving hazels. And this is a win-win situation, not only for the forester, but for the wildlife as well, because by coppicing, you're actually creating more habitat from a singular tree. So very win-win. Now, fortunately, Andy is in Hampshire, and that's got the largest area of natural, very well-established hazel coppices, probably in Europe. And there's still works there in rotation on the farms there. Now, when hazel coppices are well managed, they produce top quality wood. It's very easy to split, point, twist, weave. I'm going to show you some photographs. Anyway, before I do that, I've got a little video clip from Andy. And this, let me explain. This is Andy explaining a bit about his hazelwood. And there it is. This is Andy coming up now.
Hi, it's that time again. The time when everyone talks about hazel coppice, but unfortunately people don't understand the basics. These are hedging stakes here. Up here against the tree are binders for hedging. These are faggots. They get built into riverbanks for trapping the silt and to create a more natural sort of profile, to create better habitat in rivers. Right, in order to get this sort of material, the wood needs to have been coppiced every 7 years or so for centuries. You can't just go out and plant a wood and expect it to produce this material, and you can't neglect a wood for decades because it takes many rotations before the wood gets to this quality. Also, relying on grants is not great because they're subject to the political whims of the day. So a wood that pays is a wood that stays, as they say, and that makes sense because these woods have been coppiced continually for so long because they do produce good materials for thatching, for making hurdles, blah blah blah. So that's the point I'm trying to make. Hazel coppice, in order for it to be productive and also biodiverse, it needs to be constantly cut every 7 years for many years. Thanks for watching.
Great. Thank you very much, Andy Burney there. A little introduction to what he does. And I've got some photos of his work. They're all his own photos coming up. Except for you'll get some huge stack of hurdles. And they're made, those photos I'm going to show you in a moment, by Alan Cole and Mike Bennett. So if you go to Instagram, I don't use Instagram much myself, but if you go to Instagram, look up Mike the Hurdle Maker, and that's who he is. Let's show you some of these photos. Let's see what I can get up for you here. I've got a bunch of them. That's the willow. That's the yew, isn't it? For some reason, there we go. So that's it, harvested and stacked there, and that's one of Andy's. That's some of the stuff. That's actually Andy's work. That's not the Mike Bennett's, not Mike the Hurdle Maker. So that's Andy's own work there that he does with it. Look at that. Isn't that a beautiful fence? That's his as well. And there's another one in the distance. This is some of the jobs that you can do. And so this is Mike the Hurdle Maker. And that's his great stash. And there's his stacks of hurdles there. So it gives you an impression of what can be done with hazel's wonderful tree. I love it. And of course, I usually talk about the mystical that I like to call the hazel for your source of wisdom. But as Andy indicated in the video, you cannot place the hazels 1 year, though we're still in tree planting season. Planting the bare roots is still good for this March. So why not just go ahead and get those hazels in? Because the one thing is, though you might think, oh, I'm going to be in the coppicing business in 7 years. No, it doesn't work like that. You need 5 by 7 year cuttings before you actually get a quality wood. But it's not always, because all those cuttings before you can actually do some of the jobs there, such as the faggots for the riverbanks. You can still do that with the young hazels, things like that. And you can do some light weaving as well. But meanwhile, while you're waiting for your 7 year cut, after about 3 years, you're going to get the hazelnuts. So you're going to get harvest of hazelnuts as well. But it's worth doing it if you've got room for the hazels. Worth making that investment because it becomes a heritage for your family later down the line, and good for the environment, good for so many things. But as I say, you get those hazelnuts meanwhile. Again, any more questions? There's Claire saying very interesting, Andy. Thanks very much. I'm losing my jumper on that. There we go. That's great. Ah, fabulous. Now, be meaning to get Catherine McGlynn and the Holy Wells of Donegal, along with the husband, who sadly I haven't got her name, but the two of them, they've been on a quest to visit every holy well in County Donegal and to record and archive them. And I can't wait to get them on. I've been trying to get an interview, but every time the booking has been made, they've called in and said, no, we can't do it today. But one day I'll get them in, because the stories they tell of how they find these wells, they're really determined. They see them on a map, and quite often I'll go and see them and I'll see a field with a bull in it, or it too complicated to get to. No, they'll go around the village and they'll round up interest, and they'll find someone who guides them to the well. And I think they visited 98 holy wells last summer and recorded them. And this year they've got another 60 to do before they actually make a catalogue, a properly catalogue, proper online presentation and a book. But the stories Catherine has is quite amazing. Is part of it, especially when they do try and get local help. It's always the same story. They ask people, most people don't know about the well, but there's always someone in every village that knows someone who knows everything. And they always find that person, and that's the person who takes them to the lost wells. And there's so many stories where they say the farmer or this person who knows everything takes them up to a tree. It might be a hawthorn or some overgrown willows, and he just separates the branch, and there it is, this most perfect clean water spring that nobody else knows is there. And so it's the source of clean, pure water. And what a delight. It's on a map. Nobody's there. There aren't the pattern days that there used to be, yet it's still there. It's still fresh. And it's not like some of the holy wells that are dried up and full of algae. It's fantastic. And Catherine's husband, he's got so used to this. He's the one with the tool bag. He has the saws, the pruners, the machetes, because they sometimes have to go through woodland and then have to cut themselves away as if they're on safari for the first time. So it's quite an expedition they do. And so they've been trying to line up an interview with both of them, actually, and it's going to happen soon. But Catherine's made a video, so let's get the video. It's a bunch of photographs of some of the places they visited. So I'll just play the video, and this gives you a real essence of what they've been doing. Well, thank you very much, Catherine McGlynn, and I've taken the opportunity to putting one of the photographs up at the back there. Fascinating collection selection of the wells, and you can see from that collection there, some of those wells you can tell that were very hidden, and what an adventure to find them, to get through to them. And there's others that are well manicured. There was even a cairn well in there. They're quite rare, but they seem to. Donegal is a place where they still remain, because a lot of these cairns, they were wells inside them. So it's lovely to get at least one example of that. St. Kieran's look good. St. Kieran's Kilcar, when I've been there, that's kind of not been maintained that well. But from their photo, there's been a bit of love and care on that. So that's that's a lovely example. If you're not familiar with holy wells, that really shows you some of the variety. And that's just in Donegal. And Claire saying that's very exquisite, lovely. Thank you for that. Great, and it's lovely to see. I see the wells brought extra people on, so ask questions and comments. Those people. I think our numbers are a bit down because the daylight saving, the summertime, has just clicked in the USA. It hasn't here, so some of them might think this is starting an hour later. So they're watching an hour earlier than would have been the week before. Anyway, I think I'll tell you about Journaling Nature Folklore. I've been blasting about that, the latest on that, and my last two postings on the Substack. There you go, where you find them. There've been a two-part introduction to the Journaling Nature Folklore course. And as it's all written there, I'm not going to say that much more about that here. If you just go there, and you'll find it. And the main concepts, really, they're the trinity of prompts, journaling, and action. And what I mean by prompts is using, mainly they're going to be trees, but I'm going to provide 20 prompts through each solar cycle, each calendar year, you might say, and suggestions for journaling, the second part, from these prompts, and then actions that may be motivated and made very clear, and perhaps taking away any deadline stress coming from the prompts. So that trinity there is the prompts, journaling, and action. And I believe you'll actually find that and discover that if you have a go at it, it's much more useful and probably, well, it is less stressful than list making. We can never keep up with lists anyway. This is something you'll be able to work with. So I'm aiming to get this course up and running with the first prompts to those who have subscribed before this month is done. You can pop in and start this course at any time. I get questions about that. Oh, I can't quite make it. Yeah, some people said, oh, I can't quite make it to the beginning of the course. Can I join in a few weeks' time and catch up? Now, this is one of the unique concepts of this course, is that it's not a course with a start or a finish. It's actually a course with a continuous annual solar cycle. So you can come in at any time. And but each cycle, you'll find I've added to it. So if you start saying March, you keep going from next March, you'll find the prompts of March will actually be expanded. So it's forever going to be growing. And as more people join the Journaling Nature Folklore course, we'll be moving on to online seminars, I hope within a month or two. We'll see how you come onto this, because some people have asked me that. Oh, can we have some live seminars? Can we do something like the Zoom meetings? Yes, we will. But I'd like you to try out some of these prompts first, and we'll go over it at these meetings. I'll actually do it on StreamYard rather than Zoom. I find it a lot easier. And StreamYard have a lovely webinar facility, and we'll use that. It's a bit different to this broadcasting, and it runs very well. And then on top of that, I've already had a request. Can we have some summer meetups, please? And even for a summer camp. But to say, let's see how the membership goes, how it develops. But that'd be wonderful. One of the things I'd love this to build up into is not just me doing this. Once people get familiar with this course, that you can actually have meetups in different parts of the world where there's clusters of interest. So if some people, say in Washington State, are interested, they'll have their own meetups, maybe in Canada, Vancouver, over in parts of England and Scotland. We might find this will develop into regional meetups that go through this journaling. But I don't know. First of all, we've got to get the prompts out there, and then we'll get these seminars going. And I'll also have one-on-one questions and answer sessions too. So it's not all going to be groups. But to get this course Engines Revving, it's €30 or the same as it is in your currency, whether it's sterling or dollars or whatever your currency is. And that's the same as my annual charge for a paid subscription to the Substack. So the two are intertwined. And those of you who are already on the Substack, and those of you on Patreon too, you're in. You haven't got any more to pay. So this Substack is the platform I'm using for journaling nature folklore. It's for the course. So if you've got questions on that, get back to me. I'm trying to keep it simple. So I think it's a simple thing that's hard to explain. But if you haven't done so, click my link, subscribe on the free tier, and then you'll get my 2-part introduction. Go through that, and you think, yeah, this is fantastic. Let's get on this course. Just upgrade from within the introduction, €30. And you'll be a paid subscriber also to the other articles, chapter articles. And if you want to pay your €30 without going through the free tier, of course, go ahead. I'm not going to discourage you with that. Now, on other Substack matters, probably this evening, I'm going back to working on my She series. People have been enjoying and commenting on that. I've got 2 more chapter articles of that already written, and I'm trying get one of those up at least this evening, the other one a day or 2 later. And that'll mean there'll be 3 chapters up, and got a 4th one that's half done, and there's a 5th one to complete the set. And then I want to quickly move on to the Us and Trees set of articles and get that all done before the March is done, if I can. But Claire's on, I must announce that. She's here in Mohill, which is the town by where we live in listed down in here. She's performing at Mohill Library on Thursday evening, the day before St. Patrick's Day. So watch my social media postings. I'm going to be showing pictures and have more about that. It's at 7 p.m. Is that right, Claire, at the Mohill Library? Beautiful library, wonderful performance area, lovely setting. And Claire's going to be sharing a set of traditional songs at this time, and there'll be a few sing-alongs, so great fun to be had. Watch my postings as well for a similar concert that Claire's doing at the National Concert Hall, a lunchtime concert in April. There'll be information. And people have been asking, when's Claire going to be doing her original work again? Well, we haven't got the final details, but there's one coming up in May in Ballycastle in County Antrim in Northern Ireland that will have more of Claire's original. So we'll get the information up about that as far as possible. 7 p.m. it is. Claire has confirmed 7 p.m. Mohill Library, should anyone be watching that's in the area. So that's fantastic for that. Right, I think I've done quite well for keeping in time. So thank you for watching this Nature Echoes. I've had I still have a bit more to share. If you enjoy what is shared here through the channels, I've been chatting about the subscribing to Substack there, of course. It's all together with the articles. It keeps this show on the road, and it keeps me developing this Journaling Nature Folklore course. So, as I say, there is the free tier there, which is great. Now, next week, we got, just before the show came on, I got a note from Sarah Humble of the All Is Well, and she's just got a website up, which is, it's very, very nice, but I haven't had enough to go through it in order to get onto the show today. So that's coming up next week on Nature Echoes. We'll definitely have Sarah Humble's excellent website there. And it's really lovely. It's all about, she titles it alliswell.ie. I'll put that link into the comments after the show. So it's all is well. It was one word, alliswell.ie. And she has a lovely subtitle of Rebuilding Community Around Source Water. Rebuilding Community Around Source Water. So I'll talk about a website, and it's amazing. Most websites, including my own, you can go to them and the navigation might be okay, but it's a website. That's all it is. The one thing that's really lovely about Sarah's website, you can tell it's Sarah's website. The whole personality and love and enthusiasm, it all comes out. Yeah, at the same time, it's so easy to move through and see what's there and join in. And she's got quite a few workshops and retreats coming up, so it's worth going to that. So thank you very much for those who have joined. Fabulous. I've enjoyed presenting these echoes, the 4 echoes this week on Nature Echoes. And thank you to Catherine and Andy with the videos there. If you're watching this broadcast as a replay, keep posting your comments and questions, and I'll check and answer them as much as I can. If you there's no YouTubers came through today because I didn't get to advertise through the YouTube markets. They sort of watch later anyway. But if you're there, click the bell on YouTube and you get reminded of each week of Nature Echo. So thanks for being with me. Wayne says cheers. He did say cheers, and I've got something else coming up. Thanks. So enjoy a wonderful, safe week full of your inspirations, enchantments, and all that comes to you from the presence of water, woods, and mysteries of nature. And you never know, during this cold weather, still with us, you might find that yew branch that's fallen down, burn it at home to bring all this wonderful, great luck and well-being. So until next Sunday, thank you for joining me with Nature Echoes, and we'll see you next Sunday, all being well, and you'll all will be being well. So thank you so much. We'll see you again. Bye.